their personal money for campaign. In anger, the councillors promised a sanctioned vote to PCRN. It should be noted that Gregoire Oona, Deputy Secretary General of the CPDM, was in Njomo in the course of the campaign. Analysts think he may have succeeded to influence councillors of PCRN to vote for the ruling party. It remains unclear, however, how members of the divisional executive in Njomo will react to the decision of the national president of the PCRN, Kabalibi. And Mr. Gabriel, I want to key you into this discussion to ask what will motivate the chairman of a party like the PCRN to dissolve a whole executive at the aftermath of the first ever regional election.
Yes. You cannot, in your own constituency, where you have the majority of the councillors lose an election. It's not logical. And so, the only explanation we may have about that is that there are some of the municipal councillors, there are some of, those who are representing you in your constituency who are against you. And there is time to do what we call the menage. Okay. I think that is why he has suspended, because he needs to go in and find what is wrong and then do the menage.
After you, Mr. Gabriel, Mr. Stephan, you cannot go to justice with dirty hand. Councillors were expecting the president of their party to share the campaign money with them, as it was to enable them to run effectively their electoral campaign. Come to believe that they promised a sanction vote and which happened. Who to blame at this point in time?
Who to blame? You know, Mr. Cyril, I've always said that in Cameroon, the problem is not even the CPDM or whatsoever. The problem is the opposition. Okay. You know, the opposition is not united. You see, you go to all the parties. I've been in the opposition, you understand, but when I got there, when I entered there, I'm too small, you understand. Okay. When I got there, I see only infighting within a party. I had to just leave. I said, no, better no. I just go to that, even that CPDM. But because of my political orientation, I decided to, first of all,
lie low
for now.
Okay.
So, who to blame, as you earlier said? Well, I will not blame
neither the
councillors.
No.
I will not blame I'll blame the president. Okay. Because, you know, leadership, right?
Yes.
Leadership, when you are in front, as a leader, you need to know how to cajole your people. Right. You need to know how to you understand? Mm. So if you've not been able to convince them, if you've not been able, and losing 33 votes is not something small. I mean 31.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not something small. 31 votes is not something small. It means that the president should be blamed. He has failed. His leadership has failed. In fact, he is not even supposed to even go and be blaming those people. He is even supposed to resign. One thing with our African mentality is because we don't want to resign. We should resign. When you fail, you resign. But if I'm a leader, when I promise something to the people, when I fail, I have to resign.
According to his militant, he's looked upon like the next president of Cameroon. They think that he has brought the new wind of change, that he inspire young people to engage in politics.
No. Please.
Do you have a problem with that,
yes,
Mr. Gabriel?
I have a problem with that. Let's not allow the voices of apolitical persons to come in, or people who are, politically, they are politically illiterate.
Okay.
Let me say that. You don't just get a. You don't know.
Are you saying that he's militant? Are you saying that he's militant and illiterate in politics?
Please.
These are people who are represented in the parliament, and you are saying that they are illiterate?
You've not been able to manage a party. You want to manage a country. How is that possible?
He's currently managing the PCRN.
He's already failing. How can you say? Because I already knew 100% that at least the president has already the PCRN has already secured one seat. You understand, at the regional level.
Yes. Let me come in.
We'll come into you, Mr. Gabriel. Let Mr.
It has failed. It has failed. You understand? Yes. You have 0 seats. It means that the opposition is not represented. At the regional, the opposition is not represented. It means we are still in a monoparty system.
Okay, after you, Stefan, Mr. Gabriel, you were really burning to say something in this topic because you believe that Cabral Libi does not incarnate that personality that can man the office of the President of the Republic of Cameroon after Biya.
Yes.
Okay.
He's very, very far from that.
Okay.
He's very far from that. When did he come into politics? We are talking about yes, we saw him the very first time. This issue of presidential elections, people just take it as things that you just appear from somewhere and do things like that. For everything that you want to do tomorrow, you need a lot of experience. Get it like that. You came in just at the 7th of October and then immediately you are president of a new... I think that what the minister, I saw in the newspaper, Minister Famen Njongo said something about se sentir autosuffisant was right. He found himself a little bit too, he does not need people around him to do so. That's true. Because when you look at him, you start hearing comments that I'm seeing on social media like, Le Macron de Cameroon. Please go and read about Macron. Look at all the political achievements he had, even though he came in power at 39 years old.
Prime Minister.
It is not comparable. We are talking about somebody whose political reliability is questionable. Because he started the political party of, he was under L'Univers with Professor Kumvondo.
But he said he was coming for
Please,
coalition as 11 million, 11 million de citoyens.
No, let me learn. I'm talking about political liability. Is it somebody that we can look upon and trust? Because when you are the kind of person that today you are doing this Bafia dance, one leg in front, one leg behind, we can't trust you. That is the problem.
Cameroonians put their money together to pay his caution of 30 million during the 2018 elections.
There is a problem. There was a problem. There is a problem, and there might still be that same problem.
Are you saying that those who
problem?
It was not Cameroonians who put their money together?
Allow me to learn. I'm saying that there is a problem. What they call culture. How would I even put it? There's a problem with Cameroonians are still having this politics of fanaticism.
Okay.
You go into politics because of somebody, not because of the vision of that politics. He started in L'Univers with Kumvondo. Then beforehand, he disappeared. They had some 1 or 2 problems which I did not want to go in depth. And then he went for PCR and he created a political party. My friend, we are talking about politics here. We are talking about being the president of a political party. You need to have a lot of experience to be able to be that. Now he built up political parties represented predominantly by youths who they too are void of experience. What do you talk about? What do you expect from that kind of a person? From there he goes into the, and then you see that the quarrel, that is the confusion between the two, it's clear. And then you are in the PCRM political party. Probably the elections, the municipal and the legislative election was very smooth. That's why you won, and then you became now honorable. From there you thought that you could just govern everything. That is not how it happens. I'm saying that he has a problem with his way of leading.
Okay.
There is no way, as the head of a political party, you have majority of your municipal councillors vote for another party. Let me tell you, it is easy to corrupt one person, but it is not easy to corrupt many
31.
people. 31 people. Corrupt 31 people? No, I don't believe in that theory. I believe that there is a common problem.
After you, Mr. Gabriel, Mr. Stefan, are we debunking the fact that some Cameroonians put together some money to permit Cabral Libi to become a contestant during the last race to Etodi? That was on the 7th of October 2018.
Okay. Mr. Cyril, when you see a child growing and you want the child to grow, and maybe you have a little brother, like he comes close to you and says, brother, I need money to start a business. You still have confidence because you've never experienced, you understand, his quality. True. So you give him, you lend him some money that go and start up a business. So he when you realize that he has failed, you understand, it must not obviously mean that you must still support him. So we ignorantly supported him, knowing that he's a child with quality. You understand? But he has proven to us, because he has proven to us that he's juxtaposing himself. You are here, tomorrow you are here, tomorrow you are here, you are creating parties. The problem is not the party. You understand? The problem is not the party where you find yourself in. The problem is you bringing a vision for a party that can lead the party to a higher height. When you start saying that, okay, this party is not moving, you move to another party, move to another party. No. Politics is not prostitution.
Mr. Stefan, say things the way they are. Cameroonians, the way they are putting it, the way they are projecting it, did not really contribute to that level for that for that election.
But everywhere he has been made known to
because they need to package it in a way that you don't understand the politics behind it.
That we are lacking on the platform.
Oh, let them give the statistics of they needed how much. We're talking about
30 million.
30 million. You are saying that Cameroonians, this youth contributed 30 million.
Kabalibi went on traditional media, the mainstream media, and they make a call for support. We saw Cameroonian, even through phone call on Balafon FM, calling to promise that they are going to give him money. Are you having other sources that we might not have come out?
I may not have a source to counter, but I'm saying that the possibility that money was raised only by those Cameroonians is not. I instead see the call as something to cover the eyes, a call for you to see as though it is Cameroonians who did that.
He came from China or he came from France? Are you saying that people came from Turkey to sponsor Kabalibi, or people from the Petroleum Gulf actually sent some money to Kabalibi to support his electoral processes?
That may be what we call the myotic Socratic trying to get in-depth information from me, but I'll choose to be mute at this point. But I'm saying that the large part of that money, the bigger section of the money, the greater proportion, was not according to what they are portraying. Okay. It was not.
After the much talk about the PCR and Kabalibi issue, we only pray that he gets to reinstate this executive of the Yon and Ikele division in their duties, because they were regularly elected by members of their party in their own very much constituency. After that, I want to take you to government announces release of MRC detainees, talking about the government uphold legal proceedings against some militants of CRM that were arrested following the September the 22nd peaceful protest aimed at ousting Mr. Biya from the Etudi chair, noting that the electoral court process had brought relatively calm nationwide. Minister René Sadi said the government has decided to ease measures taken to fuel the insurgency launched by the MRC on the 22nd of September 2020. Nonetheless, the legal proceeding initiated against the perpetrators and organizers of the insurgency will continue, said Minister René Sadi, adding that several persons arrested within the context of the insurgency have already been released. Others, he went on, will also be released as the legal proceeding unfolds and depending on their degree of involvement and the threats they pose to the society. Minister René Sadi also addressed the over months-long house arrest of Professor Maurice Kamto, their leader. Maurice Kamto, for the first time, will be set free to go about his activity. Kamto's situation, he says, will continue to be closely examined by the competent judiciary and administrative authorities, and the related development will be communicated to the public in due course. The Cameroon government says it has eased measures against the leading opposition party, the Cameroon Renaissance Movement of Professor Maurice Kamto, in a statement assessing the just ended first ever regional elections. Communication Minister and Government Spokesman René Emmanuel Sadi noted that despite a few incidents in Wudikum, Northwest region, the process went on smoothly. He also congratulated those who took part in the process, noting that it was a sign of maturity as the government now seeks to move forward with the democratic experiments initiated by the head of state and his relentless efforts to march towards the progress and prosperity of our beloved country, Cameroon. Gentlemen in the studio now, starting with you, Mr. Stefan, I want to now ask you the question. Kamto, to his own answering to a question posed by journalists from Equinox TV, said that nothing has changed. Instead, he is going to march fire. He is going to be more radical than before. And Mr. Rene Sadin was very clear. He said judiciary procedure has not been closed for Kamto, and so he should not think that he is in a no man's land. What do you make of these judiciary proceedings that has been halted for some militant and even Kamto himself that can go about his activities now?
I believe the government, through its spokesperson, is playing the role of a threat, you understand, to the opposition. And Professor Maurice Kamto is doing his own job, you understand. So let me say this. Permit me say this.
Job disorder,
no, it's not this. It's not disorder. You understand? He said that he is like a. Let me put it this way. He believes that he's like a messiah to Cameroonians, and he has decided to fight for, to sacrifice his liberty. Good for us. No, one thing we are all for the outing of this regime. You understand? And I believe that that's the way forward for this country.
Are you saying all plus us? I think you are taking that statement on yourself.
On myself. Okay. To me personally, I believe that if this country needs to move forward, those leaders must be, because they are also regulators of the French regime. We already know that.
We only do that through democratic processes.
Let me talk. When you say democratic processes, Cameroon has never gotten a president democratically elected, even from 1958 with the
UPC.
No, I'm talking about this Marie Bida.
Yes.
We know how Marie Bida came to power, even when Aijo won the legislative election, and they still put him there, and later on they realized that he could not finish with the UPC. They put Aijo, and because of the differences between Aijo and François Mitterrand, because of the UPC, because he was a lawyer, so he came to Cameroon and he was chased out by Aijo. So it was like a payback in 1982. We know what happened. So if you are telling me the problem now is this, the CRM followers, they are not the leaders. I'm talking about the followers, the party, the followers. So they have not understood the concept of what President Kamto or whatsoever you put coin it. They have not understood him. He's there for a revolution, for a revolution, right? But the CRM keeps on personifying a revolution. You don't personify a revolution. Once you personify a revolution, people will now tag it, because Cameroon, there is what we call consolidation, high consolidation of power. Okay. They have already divided us in les Bamileke là, les anglophones là, you understand? They have already divided us in such a way that we are not united. So when you go in a revolution, you start saying that President élu. Already you are making somebody who is not like a CRM member, or who does not follow Professor Maurice Kamto, who believe that the people are still fighting for the victory. Okay. You understand? For the victory. They should sensitize their followers, making them to understand that the problem is not that Maurice Kamto should take power.
Has Kamto himself refused not to be called President élu?
Listen, if you people, let me put this way. The CRM has to choose this. It's either you are following your political demands with the electoral hold up, or you are putting in place a revolution. And if you are putting a revolution,
Kamto said he is for a peaceful change in Cameroon.
Well,
the transition he believes, he still believes he will go through the ballot.
What's that called? It's a revolution.
No, it's not a revolution. They believe that diplomatically Cameroonians are going to cast their vote and ask
when Professor Maurice Kamto says that people should take your destiny into your hand, what does he mean?
He means Cameroonians, if they are submerged by the system in place, they should be able to air their grievances on the public street, on the streets.
How?
By marching peacefully. He did not ask any Cameroonians to use any white weapon or whatever weapon that it might be.
My brother, don't be too politically nice.
No, my own here was just to ask questions.
Those in 2016, the students who were protesting and they were robbed into the mud, were they carrying arms? They were not armed, but they were molested. You understand? We already know the system. It's either you are go straight forward. Okay. Tell people the truth. You understand me? If you are for a revolution or whatsoever you call it, tell the people that this is it. But he himself is not even ready. You understand? He's not ready. I've attended programs. I've attended meetings because of ethics. I will not be voicing them out. I've attended many. So, you understand? But I still keep them. But I've always told them that you people should not mix things. If you are doing A, you do A. The minister is doing his job and he's securing his reputation towards his party. So I don't have any problem with him. I just believe that let him do his job and let Professor Maurice Kamto do his job. We are just waiting for the...
After you, Mr. Stefan, Mr. Gabriel, does it mean that without the regional election, Kamto would have never regained his peace?
This issue, it's getting out of place.
Okay.
Honestly, we stayed in the clouds and did not understand what meteorology had for us until regional elections came to an end.
Okay.
But my interest is not whether he has been, he has been freed from house arrest and all this. My concern is the whole arsenal of people at the service of a nation put just for one man. This should show the dimension, the threat dimension that he has for the party and system. Okay. I never used to believe that he might be fighting a just battle or a battle that he's really determined for, which is genuine. But this whole arsenal beside his house, do you know what we're talking about? We're talking about police, gendarme, military, all the forces mixed together. Day and night, 24 on 24.
For close to 72 days.
And they are being paid for those 72 days. Just for one man, he should be a serious threat.
But how? He does not have arm anyway.
No, you can't. Being a threat is not always the only way to kill a person.
Does idea kill? Does ideas kill?
I said that he is one of those who masters a system. He knows better where to. He knows where to shoot so that you die. He knows which points we call the weak points exactly that he can use. So I've told you that if you want to know whether somebody can be politically genuine in his battle in this nation, look at the way the party and system is vehemently resisting him. You can see that. And that may corroborate my point with the young PCRN president. Because I don't even see him. When he says his things, nobody did. You only fight your enemy openly. But one of those people, by the time he's making a speech, the communique of the government has come out and everything. When he does this, they are there today. In fact, the government is very much alert about his motion, his gestures. For now, honestly, he's the president of the CRM political party. I think that we may begin to believe in his battle. Because there is no point for which the government can put the service of those who ensure territorial integrity for the service of one man who is not having arms. It means that he has another arm which is different than from AK-47. We are
This
still to know
this
what arm
this
is
gesture after you, Mr. Gabriel, this gesture does not go without collateral. All the neighborhoods of that quarter actually saw their tenants emptying their houses. So many people left the quarter saying that they cannot live in a quarter where they cannot go about their activities, and they had to stay like that for close to 3 months. Who is going to compensate all these landlords that have seen their compound empty? And is it assured that we come to in that quarter, that neighborhood will now become a safe place to live in Yaoundé?
Mr. Cyril, I will not abide to that your point. I follow the social media firmly, and there are many people that have been seeing your posts, and they are telling me that in their neighborhood they now walk freely. They return even at 3 p.m. because thieves, 3 a.m. because thieves have run away. So
houses were shown on Equinox. Big story building with empty tenant. We did not see any tenant in the building.
Well, I'm not saying that I'm trying to doubt the
source.
The source. You understand me? But I believe that there is so much political propaganda that things can still happen. They can still prepare and manipulate people that, okay, you people should live there so that we should come and video it so that we go and see.
Do you think in such a sensitive moment people can abide?
No, everything
the landlord who offered the audience was very clear. For 2 months he have not seen a single franc.
Mr. Cyril, in politics everything is possible. Everything is possible. They can arrange scenes. You understand me? So you cannot tell me that I should just believe whatsoever I see on the media. No. I'm just trying to say this. There are people who have been telling me that now in their neighborhood they walk freely because thieves are no longer there.
After you, Mr. Stefan, Mr. Gabriel, while Professor Maurice Kamto was in-house detained, we had top-ranked militants of his political party that were equally caught and jailed straight to Konengi. The most recent, but that has been released, was the president of the Women Wing, Barrister Awasu Mispa, who went with the team of Bobby Tanap version Cameroon, and they were all caught, first jailed in the neighborhoods in the Gendarmerie neighborhood, before shipping her alone to the maximum security prison in Yaoundé. And before her, we had Professor Alain Fogue, who is the national treasurer of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement, but equally Bibou Ninsak, who is now a special advisor to Professor Maurice Kamto, and previously, before now, was the spokesperson for the 2018 race to Etudi. What do you make of these detainees that have suffered collateral just for visiting Professor Maurice Kamto while he was under house arrest?
Yes. You see, the best way you can handicap a political party, especially during sensitive moments like this, is not to stop their movements, it's just to be an obstacle to the key people, to those, who belong to the upper house, those who sit down and mastermind the brain behind all the activities that go on. So one of the ways in which they could do it was to just deny access and all of that. That's why they took strategic persons like the ones you cited. But then again, the question is, did they really stop communication between those people? Because we have WhatsApp, it was not stop. They could discuss on phone calls, and so it was just the physical access that was limited.
For the time that Bibou Ninsak was in jail at the set, all his equipment, including his book, the penal code, the criminal procedure codes, were all seized, and he was kept lonely with him and his conscience. So we could tell you with much more certainty that communication was cut at least for the first 30 days.
Yes. That was in view of ensuring a proper or smooth running of the regional elections normally. If you look at the way they planned it, they started with the house arrest of Professor Kamto, and later on they hijacked Bibou Ninsak. Bibou Ninsak is one of those who is not afraid to represent his political party. And then I think even Doki suffered from Barrister Doki suffered from all of this, and all of this was to ensure that they cannot go on this their call for a peaceful protest. Because you notice that whenever Professor Maurice Kamto comes in with an issue of call for peaceful protest, it has a dimension. I mean, it has a way of extending. And one of the things that a nation will never accept is a situation where they cannot control, an uncontrollable situation. They always want to ensure that they can control the situation. The last time, which I think was the 22nd of September, that he called for the peaceful protest, before we knew it, those of the Anglophone regions just did a marriage between his protest and that of the Anglophone crisis, and they came out in their numbers. And it was not a situation that was easily, though it did not go to a certain dimension, but such protests can just lead us to another scenario where we do not expect. And so since holding the regional elections was something indispensable, something that must hold, according to the status that they had prepared themselves, they had to ensure that such a call does not go on. They had to ensure that communications for other plans to handicap, to infringe the smooth running of the regional elections does not go on. Mind you, it is better to prevent than, to prevent than to come later and control the situation. So I think that was why they looked into the political parties and chose one or two people that they thought are very, very much active, and then just block the access of information to ensure that they are handicapped until the regional elections, which passed last Sunday, came to pass.
After you, Mr. Gabriel, Mr. Stefan, the Minister of Territorial Administration has one time immemorial that if Kamto there, he's going to suspend that his CRM and nothing will happen to him. Do you foresee that if Prof. Kamto take on to what he calls, he is going to resume sensitization of Cameroon as far as the ending the Anglophone crisis is concerned, and the call for a consensual electoral code? If he's going to continue in that light, do you foresee the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji, giving a definite suspension to CRM party?
The Minister of Territorial Administration cannot dare. He cannot dare. In fact, dissolving the CRM is like proving that in Cameroon we are in a total. In fact, we know that we are in a dictatorship. You understand? Okay. But this one will prove. In fact, this one maybe will help us so that the international community, although the international community has proven that they have really proven to us that politics is all about interest. So we have not been seeing them dramatic to really support Africa in resolving their problem. But I believe that if Mr. Atanganji, whatsoever he's saying, right, he's playing his card as a CPDM member, you understand? So Maurice Kamto,
state minister.
Professor Maurice, no, forget about being a state minister. He's securing the interest of the party. That's the first point. He's securing the interest of the party. Because it's duty. Because if we were in a situation that in fact, you cannot say he is playing the card of a politician. You understand me? He's playing the card of a politician. How many ministers are from the opposition in Cameroon? None. So he's playing the card as a politician. Now, let's come back.
You cannot say none. The Minister of Tourism and Leisure is of the opposition.
Which political party?
UDP. UDNP. Something like that.
UDNP.
Yes.
Where I don't know the relationship between UNDP.
Bello Buba Magari is of the opposition.
Where?
Siroma Bakari is equally of the opposition.
No, you should say that
let me say something.
That is like, please.
Does it not make them? They are still of the opposition.
They are the opposition party.
The G20.
Who have added, no, not just G20 is the one with
Jean de Njomo is equally of the opposition.
And the Mbandakanis and the rest. But I'm saying that what type of opposition are you talking about? Infiltrated opposition? These are people who go and win their votes and take and give to the CPGM, so they are in the party. Period. Let's stop this debate. Okay. You can. Yes, that's so. So he's right in saying that no minister from the opposition party.
President Professor Moise Kamto ought to understand that when you decide to give your all into politics, it means that prison should be your house. Okay. Prison should be your house. It means forget about the threats and whatsoever. If you accept to lead the people, if you accept to advocate for the underprivileged, it means that the prison is at your next door. Be ready at any moment. So you should not be scared of all the stories, the threat and all those things.
From the last media outing Professor Kamto granted Mr. Gabriel, we saw a very strong and ever-daring man. Do we see him in the days ahead or any moment soon traveling abroad, going seeking for asylum because of the so wanting attack he is having from the government in place?
Why should Professor Kamto travel out of the country because of?
We have had cases with the lead opposition of Venezuela who finally traveled out of the country and having spent 7 years in prison. And so the similar situation might happen in Cameroon, and Professor Kamto see himself traveling out of the boundaries to seek asylum in other countries for his dear life and that of his family.
No, if he was to seek asylum for his life, he should have done that long ago, because there are many other circumstances that